Our best friend Woody is stolen by the sly and slick Al, and it's up to us, Buzz Lightyear of Star Command, to go rescue him. No, I'm not talking about the 1999 hit film and cinematic masterpiece Toy Story 2, I'm talking about the 1999 hit game Toy Story 2. Or, to give it its full title, Toy Story 2 Buzz Lightyear to the Rescue. Throughout the 90s and early 2000s, not only were we getting an incredible Disney renaissance, but each were getting their own tie-in video game, for better and for worse. We had Bugs Life, Hercules, Aladdin, Lion King, you name it, Disney Interactive published it. But even with all those titles, there was just something about Toy Story 2 that stayed with people. A lot of people in my life are more nostalgic for this game than seemingly any other Disney Interactive title, myself included. So what is it about this game that hits our nostalgic sweet spot? Let me take you back through it all, as today we remember Toy Story 2 Buzz Lightyear to the Rescue. Before we get into it, I would love to make these types of videos a more semi-regular thing. So if you do like this type of thing, please do let me know with a comment below, a like or a sub. Thank you. So we start our game and wow, what a wave of nostalgia that just hit me here. First of all, I love it when old school games jazz up their little mission select menus. Crash Bandicoot jumps to mind as a great example of this. I'm not simply selecting through a boring list of levels here, I'm running an Etch-a-Sketch. And look at the detail here, the watercolour to show you the location you are picking, the black and white background straight out of an AHA video, the cars driving past to show you that this is still a busy neighbourhood. I love that little touch so much. Anyway, we boot up level 1, Andy's house, which, let's face it, is going to be the core memory that everybody who has played this game has, and rightfully so. This is the strongest level in this game, and I think it also houses, no pun intended, one of the strongest tutorial levels in games. Let me break this down. So, we begin in Andy's room, and right away we have two enemies in front of us, one flying, one on the ground. Well, I've played a 90s platformer before, I know I have some sort of spin attack or charge attack, and well, would you look at that, I do. And that other guy is in the air, so how can I get him without some sort of range attack? And look at that, I can shoot enemies. Enemy number 2 down. Now let's look around. Everything in this room's a bit too high for me except for this box. So can I jump on this? Yes I can, perfect. Now to the chair, and to the desk, and ooh, that was a little too high for my character. I had to ledge climb there for a moment, perfect. Now I know that I can do that. Now let's look around. I can only seem to interact with this book, so let's walk into it, and great. I now have a new platform and a shortcut back. So, onto the bed. And this jump is a little too far. So let's try jumping again. And look at that, a double jump. Great. Let's carry on climbing. And, oh, can we jump onto the zip line? Cool. But now I'm trapped. I can't double jump out of this. There's nothing to push, nothing to really interact with, nothing to spin or shoot. So let's try some other buttons here, and oh, we're in first person mode. Okay, let's look around and aim and hit that, and then that, and we are out. And look at that. With just exploring this one room for a few minutes, you are now equipped with everything you need to know and use in this game. I love this. Tutorial through exploration. And sure, there are also blocks here that you can jump into that will just flat out tell you things like a more traditional, dare I say boring tutorial, but still, credit where credit is due. I love this tutorial, and I love this room. Back to our gameplay, and throughout exploring this room you might have seen scattered about some coins. This takes us to our next quick tutorial via exploration lesson. As we leave this room, see a trail of coins that go up a potty plant and more that goes up a rope, imploring us to jump at not just the coins, but the stem and the rope, teaching us again through exploration that we can climb on these surfaces. Again, such little touches and design choices here. So simple, but I love them so much. So what do we actually do in this game? We've just sort of been left to our own devices to explore and start collecting coins. Well, outside our first room, we find a familiar friend, Rex. Now this guy kind of works as a sort of hint system, telling us what we are meant to be doing. He'll tell us about friends that we can find in each level and where we can find them. About Peeps looking worried, you can find her in the kitchen, you should go speak to her kind of thing. Much like those tutorial blocks I mentioned that are littered throughout that explicitly tells us buttons, Rex works as our explicit tutorial here, in case for whatever reason, whilst exploring the level, you fail to bump into any of your friends that need your help. Again, I do like the two options of tutorials that we have here, the exploration and the explicit. So, whilst we're here, let's head up to the attic to continue exploring. And this is another touch as to why I think I have such a nostalgic love for this game, and I think why people have such a core memory of this level in particular. It does so much with very little. This stage isn't that big, but it feels big, and that is so important, especially when playing as a toy. Andy's room felt massive, even though I just ran through it in minutes. This climb into a huge attic feels massive, where in reality, it's just a couple of boxes up here you can climb upon, push around, and a few rafters up on top. But the scale of this game feels great. I also like this small little touch on the rafters here. You see this one coin? Well, it's in mid-air, letting you test out your double jump abilities for a little bit of a risky jump. But it doesn't do this over a death pit. You'll notice that it does this over the boss fight arena, which is the main reason you need to be up here anyway, meaning that even if you failed this double jump, you'll fall right into your objective anyway. Nice little touch there. And speaking of boss fights, yes, they are. Defeat it and you shall get a pizza token is all we are told before being shoved into a fight with an aggressive robot 3 times your size. And it is aggressive. It is relentless. It chases you throughout this small box arena, soon stopping, giving you an opening to hit it. And this is where I start to notice my first tiny little problem with this game. The shooting. This kind of vague auto lock that Toy Story 2 has. You kind of just shoot in the general area of an enemy, and sometimes the aim will sort of drift towards that enemy and your shots will start to land. But for the most part, you will just be spamming the fire button until that drift and lock on happens. Or until you get lucky and just hit it naturally. And you'll notice it here on this boss. I sometimes charge my laser, another ability that you have in the game, but 80% of the time I shot at the vulnerable boss, I missed. So why would I charge my shot then? The game is teaching me that most of my shots are just gonna miss. The game wants you to spam shots, not charge and meticulously aim them. Anyway, we now know the boss's whole attack pattern. Not too complicated, but a nice and simple first level boss. So after a few rounds of dodging and hitting, we get our first token. This will be our main objective. Collect things, help friends, beat bosses until you get enough tokens to leave the level and go on to the next one. Nice and easy stuff. So I head back down the stairs and into the garage. Again, entering this whole other area, making it feel secluded from where I just was, really adds to the scale of the level here. This is where I found another small little tutorial via exploration as well. So you're platforming, dodging and timing some drills and saws until you come across a seemingly dead end. There's only a shovel here that you can jump on, which lowers down to the ground, creating a shortcut, and a bin with some health on it. Well, did I do all this just for some health? Well, no, because there's another level of platforming above me. Well, there's a couple of coins towards the car here. Maybe if I jump in that direction I can make it. And you do. You can then make a bit of a tighter jump landing on the light and then another jump onto the higher platform. Now, not only is this now taught you that platforming isn't going to be as simple as jump on box, follow this round, but they give you a shortcut at the exact part you had to take a few leaps of faith, letting you return back quickly here if you failed. I really like this. We also have our next token here, for racing and beating RC. Now I don't really like this too much, I think it was a bit weak to be honest. RC is clearly a lot faster than you and there's nothing you can really do to combat that. The only point that RC slows down is at this one corner with some oil in it, but if he's already ahead of you by some margin, that one slip and recover just isn't enough. The only thing you can do is get in RC's way. He will always bump into the back of you, stop and have to recover. So by cheating my way through 3 laps, we get our next token. We now enter the living room, and one more quick tutorial here. This couch is hinting that we should be jumping on it, but a jump isn't doing anything, neither is a double jump. So maybe we can try something else here. And look at that, we discover a ground pound, which takes us flying onto the shelves for more exploration. We also find Ham here, who is in every level and will always ask for coins, 50 to be exact, which we just so happen to find whilst exploring here. I like this little added touch that we have showing our friends and objectives and collectibles in our UI. You can see here that after hitting 50 coins, it is now showing me Ham, telling me to go and find him and hand in that mission. I have also found 3 sheep by now and found a missing part of Mr. Potato Head. Well, I haven't even encountered these characters yet, so again, it's a nice little way of telling me what is ahead of me. And I like this especially because there's no other way of knowing what I've done and what I am doing whilst on the level. And back to Ham, I do have a small gripe with the coins. My first comes from schoolyard rumours, but everybody has a game with a rumour attached to it that they heard in their school and that they fell for. The Mew can be found in a truck, the Lara Croft nudity cheat. Everybody has heard these, but you only really fell for some. Well, I fell for the rumour in this game, because it's such a simple lie. There's 99 coins in each level, and every time you're playing, you want to collect them all. Now I got told that there's 100 coins. Imagine how infuriating it must feel as a child playing this level with 99 coins, looking everywhere for the last one. And worst of all, and this comes to my actual gripe with the game, each enemy drops a coin, but it doesn't stay around for very long, which can cause issues. Firstly, being that I can't preemptively take out my enemies now, because I won't be able to reach them in time and collect the coin. Like, look at this for example. This enemy, right on top. I can go first person and take it out, no problem. But oh no, now the coin's there, and now it's gone. Well, the enemies just respawn, right? Can I not just beat the enemy again and it drops the same coin? Nope. It only drops the coin once. If you miss it, and was going for all coins per level, then you have to quit the level and restart it all over again. This is why I feel like Ham only requests 50 coins, which you will easily find and casually pick up, but it is a slight shame, as I become less and less incentivized to collect the coins as I go along. Why would I go out my way to collect some harder coins, or beat all the enemies that are in my way, if Ham only needs 50? I know I'm meant to think of these coins more so like rings from Sonic, or coins in Mario. It's nice that they're there, but you don't really have a reason to collect them all. On to the next room now. The kitchen. And Peep has lost her sheep and oh my god, look at Buzz. What is going on with his character model? Those eyes are haunting. And I think that goes for a lot of character models in this game. The body and general look of each character look great, but the faces, oh my god, the faces. And now, finally the basement. And this is probably the weaker of the level areas in my opinion. It just doesn't seem to fit. For some reason, The whole basement is flooded with toxic waste, and the only way to bypass it is to return Mr. Potato's Head's missing body part. He will then allow you to pick up the shield power-up, which, for a start, cheers mate, gatekeeping a literal shield that I need for my protection until I help you out, what a pal, and secondly, this power-up sucks. Yes, you can now cross the waste, but it lasts a short amount of time. It turns your movement into ice physics for some reason, and it kills your jumping momentum. In fact, now you can barely jump at all. It's barely even a hop. It's awful. But we use it to platform our way up higher, to find our hidden token of the level, and then return the sheep to Peep to get our last, finishing the level with all tokens and our new power-up. And as you can see, just the variety of this level itself is fantastic. A bedroom, an attic, a kitchen, a living room, a garage, a basement, all of these could be fully fleshed out levels in themselves, but they were all well used and well implemented into one iconic tutorial level. So, on to the next, Andy's backyard. And one thing I am a little hit and miss on here is how they tell their story. A lot of Disney interactive games from my memory just had clips from the movie in between each level to work as their cutscenes and narrative. And that can come across as pretty lazy in my opinion. I think they work okay here, for the most part. Our first clip shows Woody being taken before we play Andy's house, and this clip is of Buzz preparing to leave the home to journey to save Woody, before entering the backyard. It fits here, and if you've never seen the film, I don't think the levels and clips would be too jarring for you. Now onto the actual level itself now, and once again I have to commend just the layout of the level itself. Splitting each small area up from one another really makes me feel like I am travelling between these big, wide open backyards, and nothing feels out of place here, other than the enemies themselves. Now, in the first level, we had small hopping and flying robots, which could be argued fit in this level. Andy could have had these toys at one point. I think the real theming is linking them with the main boss of the stage, the giant robot, making it feel like all the other robots were just simply its minions, before you then had to go fight the big old leader of the pack. But level 2 here has these sci-fi RC cars everywhere, and the boss of the level is a kite, which is the only enemy in the stage that fits in with the backyard theme, especially as you fight it after climbing a very large tree. I'm not sure what could fit better in this stage, maybe some bug-like toys. And although it is a shame to see theming thrown to one side so quickly, I do commend them for actually having different enemies. It could have been very easy just to litter the whole game with the same hopping and flying tin robots, so credit where credit is due. Speaking of RC cars, we have RC himself back for another race. This time, however, the race is even more stacked against us. Not only is it a bigger track and harder for us to cheat by blocking RC, but the enemies themselves are scattered throughout one portion of this track, and they will just ruin any hope you have of winning. You will notice though, these packaged power-ups on the track, letting you know that you might need a power-up to help win this race. Well, there's no Mr. Potato Head on the stage, which means that we have some backtracking to do in our future. I like this. This game is very easy. The tokens are very easy to find and get, so just setting up something simple here like backtracking after acquiring a power-up adds a nice little bit of replayability to our game. Very nice. Although, in this instance, I rematched RC and body blocked him until I won. That's 2-1 RC, better luck next time. I want to quickly touch upon the enemies in this level again, as after reviewing my footage, I noticed something that I didn't take any notes on. The height of my enemy. You see this first RC car I come across? My bullets do the usual missing, but you'll also notice that they shoot over my target as well. the RC can also take a hell of a lot of shots to put down. I just assumed here that I needed the upgraded laser at first, something that you can find in most stages, but notice here how his spin attacked these RC cars. Look how quickly they are beat. These enemies were put in level 2 to teach the player that spin attacks are more effective on certain enemies, and I do love that touch. I just wish that they did it with another enemy design. Now, platforming is a bit more focused upon on this level. We have a big old space in one of the backyards to jump from large fountains to ornaments, and we also have the main piece of the level itself, the large tree. This does come with a few little tricky leaps to a pole. I'm not gonna lie here, the jumping can be a bit floaty, and the grabbing the pole can be a little temperamental, and it was just enough here that made me wonder if this was my doing or the game's. This climb did take me a few attempts, and once I was up there, I was met with the boss of the level, the kite. This is all about teaching you how to use your first person lock-on mechanic. It keeps its distance, you lock on, you fire, it spins to attack you, rinse and repeat. The boss goes down, another solid one at that. Now, level 3 is a bit of a weird one. There's 15 levels in this game, and every third one is a boss stage. Just a boss. No other tasks, no other tokens to collect. And I like this, in theory, because when every other level contains a boss, these stages are left not feeling very special. I mean, it's not like this toy plane I'm now fighting is any harder than the kite I just had to take down. So it is a mixed bag here for me. I do like them, but I'm just left questioning, why are they here? They do unlock bonus videos for completing each one, which in this instance is a clip from the film that I don't think they could fit into the game's narrative. So maybe there's that. And that segues me quite nicely to this next level, as after a quick cutscene which shows the toys still running around the streets, we are now in a construction yard, which doesn't really fit in with the film's plot at all. And I'll be straight up, I do not like this level. It's just one area, nothing else. Well, the office can be argued to be another location, but that's it. And it's just a frustrating level at that. It all revolves around this big climb up the scaffolding, but that climb first starts with getting onto this dump truck, lowering the scoop, racing into the front of the scoop before it raises, and then jumping onto the red scaffolding and platforming your way to the top. Which sounds fine, it is just a bit of timed platforming, but you have to do this every fall. Every reclimb up this thing, every failure to get to the front of the heavy machinery too, it just becomes tedious and frustrating. And this game has done such a good job so far of creating shortcuts to cut all the annoying little moments like this out, but not here. And the climb itself can be a bit unfair. There's these red hot bolts that just rain down upon you, enemies firing at you, girders that you need to seesaw to make leaps of faith onto higher platforms, and the game doesn't make it immediately obvious which girder you have to go for, leading to some mistakes happening and more frustrating reclimbs back up to here. I wish a better shortcut was implemented, a rope to make it onto the lower tier of scaffolding maybe, just anything other than that dumb dump truck. And the rest of the level ain't much better. The only other part of it you can really visit is the office, which has even more baffling design choices than the basement in level 1. Firstly, we just have toxic waste everywhere. I don't know why the makers of this game thought toxic waste was the only environmental hazard for a toy. Secondly, the puzzle in this room to acquire the token is a paint mixing minigame, where we have to create 3 different paint colours by mixing red, yellow and blue paint. Now, not a bad puzzle at all, but I do not know why it is here. Why would it be in this office? On a construction yard? It just feels very much out of place and not keeping with the construction theming. Level 5, Alleyways. A much better level, design-wise anyway. I still don't like this one very much. This is the first big backtrackable level. You need 2 power-ups here, which we do not have yet. So the first time round, you'll only be able to do really half the stage. Again, I like that. Give me a reason to come back and 100% your game. It's also split into sections again, a continuous highlight of this game. And they're always super creative with it. Here we have the main alleyway itself. Then, on either side of the alleyway, we have a large water section where the rainwater has made its way to, and on the other end, we have what looks like the back exit of a shop. There's bins here, there's umbrellas that are up, and there's a market stall of fruit. Okay, it doesn't all fit perfectly, but still, very well designed level. And that's not even mentioning the climbing portion of it, which we can't do right now, so we'll come back to later. Enemies are also a slight improvement. I've said that I feel like they might have struggled to theme the toy enemies in each level, or maybe they just didn't overthink it as I am right now, but I think enemies here do fit quite well. With as much water and rain as we get on this level, the toy boats fit here quite nicely. I also like this cardboard box that continuously makes toy planes. Doesn't fit the theme quite as well, but I still like this enemy. Next level, Slime Time. Another boss only level, and honestly, probably the hardest boss in the game. You are fighting bin slime with a better healing factor than Deadpool here. The objective is to shoot it enough so the slime shrinks back into the bin, doing damage to it, and every time it's hurt, it grows larger, meaning it takes more shots to shrink. The problem is that healing factor I mentioned. If you so much as give this bin a nanosecond of breathing room, it will regrow all the way back to normal. And keeping on the pressure by spamming shots is easier said than done when this thing loves to jump around and fire homing attacks on you that will pause your spam shots. This took such a long time to put down. I think I gave myself carpal tunnel syndrome just fighting this thing. Level 7, another iconic level, Al's Toy Barn. Another core memory level for a lot of people, I think. I seem to vaguely recall this level and Andy's Room being the 2 levels that were on all the Toy Story 2 demo discs back in the day. I could be wrong. I know Andy's Room was there for sure, but if anybody remembers these, let me know below. Anyway, what a level we have here. Let's start by looking about. Straight away, we have the front hills that we can't make across just yet without a power-up. That all leads to a shopping trolley, over more toxic waste of course, that goes on to more platforming. It's a great string of places and objects to use, and you know why I think it's such good platforming, and why it fits so well in this game? You remember in the first Toy Story, we have the iconic falling with style scene, in which Buzz is jumping on a car that loop-de-loops, that gives him the air to land in a plane that spins him around, and that is what this game captures. That almost Rube Goldberg-esque style of platforming. We have a great example here in this level as well, where in the back, we meet a chicken that wants us to race to an egg at the beginning in enough time. We do this by jumping on a skateboard that bumps us into a trampoline that gives us the height to get onto some shelves that we can then make our way to a zip line to get to that egg. It is straight out of the film. It is perfect. I also like this Total Wipeout-esque platforming section in the back. It feels like you're running through the whole sports section of a toy shop. There's basketballs and baseballs being launched at you. You have to dive through these spinning bike tires, climb a jump rope, ride a skateboard. It's all really fun and well themed. Now I do have a small nitpick with this level though, and it is inside the office. Now credit where credit is due, this is a much better office than what we had back at the construction yard. It fits better, it's themed better. My problem lies with these 3 locks here. you have to use your disc launcher power up to hit these locks, so the filing cabinets can then open and you can platform up them. That's fine, that's great. My issue comes with the fact that each lock drops a coin, and it drops it over toxic waste, forcing the player to not only jump back down to the ground for a few measly coins, but also to take damage while doing this. Why punish the player so much here? It seems like a really unfair choice, and it once again is seemingly put there to teach the player not to care about collecting the coins. But I want to care, Toy Story 2. I like collecting your coins. Level 8. Al's Spaceland. This may seem like a bit of a throwaway level, but it actually ended up being one of my favourites. Outside the obvious other two, of course. The arcade section was fun, finishing with a ball pit to play in and a crane game to win. I really liked the opening section's platforming, jumping from these ceiling decorations. The ceiling decoration was a lot of fun and leaves you with a choice at the end to either jump for an extra life or jump to the boss fight with another Buzz Lightyear. There's also the surprising return of the shield upgrade, which I completely forgot about since its use in level 1, and considering just how much toxic waste is used throughout this entire game, I'm shocked by the lack of this power-up's appearance. Maybe it's because this power-up sucks. And it's just so much worse here. In case you forgot, this shield lasts for a super short time, turns your movement into ice physics, and turns your jumps into a little bunny hop. And here you're expected to use it to avoid all the random laser fire that's happening. But the power-up lasted such a short time that it just left me vulnerable in the middle of all this fire, and I just ended up racing through the rest of the area tanking the damage. Level 9. And another boss fight, probably the weakest in the game if I'm honest, is a spaceship that spawns in common enemies. Defeating that enemy then hurts the boss. It's super easy, even for this game. I have a clip from the movie now that shows Al leaving with more of our friends to head over to his penthouse, which takes us nicely into level 10, Elevator Hop. This is pretty much an all vertical level. We climb through the vents using our newly acquired grappling hook that we unlock on this level. And just look at this nice little detail here. Every time you're in first person, you can see the reflection of Buzz's face in the visor. Extra nice little touch to have him closing one eye to aim. Love that. I also give credit to this level for having a pretty tricky puzzle. We have to level out the 3 colours, pressing 3 different buttons that will each raise a colour and lower another. Pretty tricky, but still fun. I take credit away though for this damn mouse right here. This clockwork monster taunts you on the ceiling, always making you believe that your jumps will be enough, and it never is. You will always just miss it, or bump into the ceiling, or this little red light that is always in the way. I had to come back to this level later on as well, as I never found all the clockwork mice my first time round, so I had to collect this thing twice. Level 11, Al's Penthouse. And another great level here, and a reason for that, again, is the scale of it. We have the collector's room full of trophies and woody paraphernalia that all leads to a fun fight with a bandit toy. And speaking of, the enemy theming in this level is great. Without being such a huge Woody fan, it makes sense to have all these bandits and vulture toys everywhere. Although, I don't like that these enemies are then plucked out and used in every upcoming level after this. This calls back to what I again feel like is a wasted opportunity, them not keeping level specific enemies. Enough complaints though, back to some praising, and I have to give it up for these next 2 puzzle rooms. One is a bathroom, where you have to flood the entire room. Nice tricky little bit of platforming here, really fun. And the next is this train track puzzle, in which you need to press buttons that will change the track, eventually forcing the train to dock, solving the puzzle. Again, great puzzle here. Really simple, but fits so well in with this world. There's also the return of the shield power-up, but for the life of me I could not figure out what I needed it for here. I figured it was for this extra life that was hiding behind the fire, but look, you can't even jump high enough with this power-up to get into the fire. It's useless. Boss fight with Zerg, and is it just me, or is this guy just no-clipping everywhere? I think he's meant to be floating, but I don't know, he just doesn't look quite right. Anyway, this is a spin to damage fight. I feel like they put enemies like this in when they realise that the spin is a little redundant. Your trusty laser will take out most enemies and will always be your primary attack that you go to, so it's nice that they throw a bone every once in a while to buzz his spin attack. Level 13, and we've chased Al to the airport, and you'll be shocked to find that they've used something other than toxic waste here. Instead, they use oil, I think. I'm not quite sure. It doesn't make you go any faster, your movement isn't slippery at all, and I don't even think this substance slows you down now that I think about it, so why is this here? It doesn't even fit. This is baggage handling at an airport. Where would an oil slick even come from? I do like this nice little touch of having the wet footprint for a brief amount of time whenever you do walk through paint or water or something like that in this game. It's a nice little addition. Another surprising twist in this level comes in the form of its boss fight, Stinky Pete. Now, there's 2 levels left in this game, last one being a boss only level for sure, so why am I facing Pete now? Surely he had to be the final boss. He's the villain of the whole film, spoiler. Seems a bit anticlimactic here to have him as some nameless, throwaway level boss you just have to beat for a token. Level 14 now, and I think some of these movie clips are doing the levels a disservice here. Look here, a clip in which Jessie is being put on a plane and Woody calls in Bullseye to race to that plane and save her. So you know what would have been nice? A level in which you are racing on the back of Bullseye to get to the plane. Now, I know this is endgame stuff now, and they haven't really mixed it up yet, so why should I be expecting it here? But come on. To go from this clip here to this is just a bit of a letdown. The level also suffers a bit from the same setbacks as the construction level. It is just one open airfield with a plane doing a lap around the place. Toy Story 2 doesn't do well with just one area. It benefits from splitting all the different tokens and puzzles and platforming into smaller areas per level. This place, it's massive, and I don't know where anything is. I don't know where to go, what I'm doing. I was lost for ages, just trying to find something to climb on, trying to make my way to the plane, just trying to find something. And to make it worse, we also have the second worst power-up scattered everywhere in this level, the rocket boots. Now, I get why. Look at this place. Rocket boots will surely come in handy to get around a little bit quicker. It's a no-brainer. The issue I have with this power-up is that it's instant and super hard to control. This is easier shown on other levels, so check this part out. This is where I backtrack to the alley level after I beat the game to get all the other tokens. One duck is on this tarp way over there, and I need to rocket boost from here to there. The boost comes instant though, so if I so much as cough in its general vicinity, the boosts activate and send me flying in the wrong direction. And that's not to mention that when I am in the right direction, they just don't steer very well. This took a few attempts, and just going back to the airplane level for a moment here, it made certain areas a pain. Look at this part here. Toxic waste, of course, is scattered about everywhere in this level, with some even around this truck too, and look where the boots are placed. Do you know how many times I went to jump at that truck, only to hit the boost and go flying in another direction? Or I touch the boost and just go heading into the toxic goop. Why is the boost even here? What use would I get out of boosting in this area? I just need to climb onto the back of a truck, not get somewhere fast. The boots needed a button press for activation and deactivation desperately. Now, I have a little bit of an embarrassing confession to make. This is the level that I finally realised that I can change the camera to passive. I know I'm dumb, but thank God I found this feature. For the most part, active camera is fine. It basically turns the camera to whatever direction you turn Buzz. But as it got further and further into the game, I was just fighting this thing tooth and claw. I remember it being real bad on the elevator level. I mean, look at this. Passive means that I can just freely move the camera by simply pressing the L2 and R2 buttons. Final level now, and we have a showdown with our final boss, Stinky Pete, of course. Like I said, he is the film's antagonist, so of course he had to be our final boss. To mix it up, however, Pete is also here with 2 random bosses that we fought before in other levels to 3v1 you. A little disappointing here, I'll be honest. Like I said before, I don't know why they used Pete for that baggage handling level. It was a baffling decision that I think led them to having to double up on some of these other bosses. This just turns into a bit of a slugfest. I tried to play it smart at first, shoot a little here, running for a cheeky spin attack on the bosses that are immune to laser hits, but I just gave up and tanked the damage. I had enough health and lives here anyway. There's no real punishment for dying. I just use up one of my lives, come back instantly with full health, and finish them off pretty easy. After our final clip from the film, I then spend the better part of an hour backtracking to collect all the remaining tokens, which I didn't have too many to find, truth be told. I had 44 out of 50. There's only really a couple of levels that force you to backtrack once you get the required power up. And what do you get for rebeating the final boss with all the tokens collected? A secret level? A different message in the credits? A new clip from the film? Nope. You get nothing. This could sadden some players. I wasn't too fussed, to be honest. I enjoyed my time with the game and the completion. I do wish they could have at least thrown in another clip from the film as a bonus reward, especially because they set us up to backtrack and go for completion. It would have been nice to have a little reward for it. Still, I love my time revisiting and remembering Toy Story 2. I can see why it's still so beloved to this day, and I highly recommend anybody revisiting it. Thank you so much for watching. As I said in the beginning, I would love to make more videos like this, revisiting and deep diving old retro games to preserve their memory, and just have some fun replaying some classics, the good and the bad. So if you did like this, please do let me know with a like, a sub, a comment, all that YouTuber goodness. That way I know to make more of these. And if you do have any idea for games that you want me to revisit, drop them in a comment below. And if you do have any core memories about this game, let's talk about that too. I know there'll be a ton of fans with this one. Also, for those that are usually here for my platinum hunting videos, don't worry, they ain't going anywhere. For the time being, they'll be the main bread and butter of this channel, with the odd little retro retrospective sprinkled in. Thank you again for watching. Until next time.